Hello and welcome, I'm Paul Nashawaty, coming to you live from the show floor at Monday.com at Elevate25. I'm joined today by Josh from MITER. Josh, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. You want to introduce yourself to the audience and a little bit about MITER?
Yeah, sure. My name's Josh Soto, Senior Marketing Operations Manager for MITER Brands. MITER Brands is a company of industry-leading window and door manufacturers. So being in a manufacturing industry, operational excellence is a very, very key component. So my role was really to bring that sense of that mantra of operational excellence to marketing. And we use Monday for that.
Awesome, well that's great. What a great show. I mean, this first day, it's been busy, lots of traction. The keynote was really
It's been
exciting.
pretty amazing so far, yeah.
Yeah, how's the show going all right for you?
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of different things to really, a lot of things to sign up for. So, it's been a little bit cumbersome for us to get in a part of all the different lessons and whatnot. But there's just no shortage of things to learn from Monday, and honestly, networking and talking to the other customers has been really the highlight for me.
Yeah, Monday.com has grown significantly over the years, and the interest is obviously here. So let's jump right into it. For MITER, right, we look at some of the business pain points, right? So there's some marketing challenges that you kind of overcame, and you're looking at. Can you describe your environment before you went to Monday, and then why you chose to go to Monday?
Yes, if I had to sum up the environment before we went to Monday, it was pretty chaotic. There was no standardization. So like MITER Brands, we house or we have support multiple brands across the country. So we have ones out in the West Coast, out in Northeast and down in South Florida. So there was no standardization in how we can leverage our different marketing resources to support all of our different brands and the various teams along with those brands. So Monday has been instrumental in allowing us to standardize that approach and actually be able to lead the company in proper usage of Monday and be able to be a bit of a thought leader from that capacity.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, I know that operational excellence is really where people want to get to. They want to have operational performance and increase their performance. So, when we look at prior to you using Monday, it sounded like you had some siloed activity, maybe not a lot of collaboration between the teams, but Monday has brought that together. Is that what I heard?
I would argue so, yeah. A lot of things were all done via email, right? And even still, though, when you get into the concept of resistance to change, and you have to kind of take, those people that are very reliant on those other really, I'll just say archaic approaches to managing, projects and different kind of requests like that, and getting them more involved there. So that's been probably one of the bigger hurdles that we've had. But a lot of the other products that Monday has been releasing, specifically the workflow builder, has been able to really sync a lot more things together, different work spaces and teams to make it feel a lot more synergistic.
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions I was going to ask you is, when you look at these silos, you looked at kind of harmonizing this across your organization, there's obviously other options out there from Monday.com. What made Monday the right fit for you?
Well, before MITER, I've worked in a bunch of different other project management systems. I won't go through the list of naming them all, but I think what really helped the MITER land on Monday was just the robustness of it and how they can use it from different departments, from IT, marketing, and elsewhere. I'm sure there's other parts of the company that use it. So just being able to support all those different customer journeys and use cases, I think, is what really set them apart.
Very cool. Sorry, let me take a little bit, double click down into a couple of the things that you're working on. So when we look at workflow components and design elements, right, there's your intake customer form that you have, right? Yeah. And that customer form that really has a request that comes in. Who submits it? How is the fields included? How are the requests routed and prioritized?
Oh man,
there's a whole bunch there, right?
Yeah, oof, okay. How much time you got, Paul? No, I'm kidding, I know. So when we built that out, we really focused on going to what I call our doers, right? So we have our shared services within the company. We have essentially what summarizes to a in-house marketing agency. But there's really no standard in how to use them. So when we built out those forms and built that intake, the first thing was, hey, creative team, graphic designers, what do you need to do your job efficiently? Web developers, what do you need to do your job efficiently? And then we start from there. Because if they're not operating in the means that they need to be operating, then any workflow you build is going to be bound for failure otherwise. So we really start with from that perspective and then just built up from there.
So how did automation help with this? I mean, think of like the AI and the automation pieces. Did you jump completely to autonomous kind of workflows, or did you still have a human in the loop? How does that all work?
Yes, so that's a great question. And because everybody wants to just jump right into AI and automations, and somebody told this to me a long time ago and it really stuck with me. Technology can make a good process better, but it can't make a process out of nothing. Right. And so what you really want to do is walk it up. You want to make it so that everything that you're doing is very manual, and then you find ways to automate those manual components until you get to the point where it's completely automated. And then from there you can stack on any other kind of, what I like to call quality of life upgrades to those automations, to those workflows, to make it feel a lot more seamless and less of more like you're in an app or like a program that's customized for you. So it's pretty fun.
So you still have, like, you're leveraging automation, but you still have the ability to have a human in the loop when there's a need to have that. Mm-hmm. Would you consider yourselves to be if you look at the maturity of where organizations are, would you consider yourselves to be very mature, or would you say like learning somewhere in the middle, or maybe in your infancy?
I would say not quite the infancy, maybe in like we're hitting puberty, if you will.
Okay.
So we have people that are starting to embrace the changes that are coming in. And what's been amazing is, since we did start with going with those doers, with those service providers, now we're getting the feedback from them to really drive change. Before they felt like they didn't really have the ability to get in the driver's seat or put their signature on anything. And so now as we've been able to develop this and grow these workflows, that buy-in to really continue it is what's going to get us deeper into those deeper stages of maturity.
All right, so when we're looking at that deeper stages of maturity, you moved away from siloed environments, right? Let's talk a little bit about how there was an impact on collaboration, visibility, and reducing those workarounds, right? Mm-hmm. What does that mean after you've implemented Monday and having a more unified, centralized view? How is that collaboration and visibility, how has that improved over time?
Oof, well, it depends who you ask,
okay.
Right? So the probably one of the biggest buzzwords of the commonality, what we really try to accomplish is accountability through these workflows, right? And so accountability is great when your workflows are running fantastic and there's really no bottlenecking. But when that starts to come, but when these workflows actually start highlighting different bottlenecks, maybe personnel, maybe processes, and really starting to drive that, you get a little bit of friction. But for the most part, I think yeah, I'm sorry, I was going in the wrong direction there.
No, that's fine.
But I think for the most part, it's been pretty well received, and again, we're starting to really get greater feedback and be able to drive us forward.
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like you're freeing up time for people, so they're
yes.
becoming more productive. What are they able to spend their time on if they're freeing up their time? Is it better quality of life? Is it better better work production? What is the time been able to allowing you to do?
Well. I would say that it allows us to really focus on the things that really drive us. People get into a specific role or specific specialty because they like doing that, not necessarily all the things around it.
Okay.
So for the case of our web developers, they're spending more time being able to code and stay in the website. For our creative, our graphic designers or whatnot, they could spend more time in that creative element and less time chasing down revisions and emails, chasing down other other stakeholders or people that are submitting requests in. So it's just one of those things where it really lets them do what they enjoy more, sure. And the reason why they even got into the specialty that they got into in the first place. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. And my research and the Cube research, where I focus on a lot of my data, what we found is that there's a tremendous amount of, we're calling them applications, right? Okay. Tremendous amount of applications being created by the lines of business, right? And the lines of business are now, whether it's marketing or finance or sales, they're what we would say a citizen developer, right? So somebody that is out there developing, not a professional developer, but a citizen developer using tools like AI in order to do this. So it allows for that productivity like you're talking about and the collaboration, the unified front. But what about, can you talk a little bit about maybe some of your data sets that you had before? Was it hard to take the existing data sets and move it and have it in Monday, or did you, was that seamless? Was that a lift and shift? How did that work?
So I got into Monday by way of acquisition. So before I was marketing operations manager for another company, and then MITER Brands bought us. So by the time that I stepped into it, they already had essentially it built out. For the most part, it was they brought in an agency to kind of get things going. But when I stepped in, it was taking those bones and really being able to scale up and be able to make it scalable and more agile to the point where I can use it right now. So to me, the big challenge that I had was taking essentially what somebody else made and then left behind, and then being able to bring that up. So I was very fortunate in the sense that I didn't have to come over and migrate in from a different system, but I did have to take those existing workflows, or one existing workflow, and then make it dynamic. So for me, it was pretty easy, and actually gave me a bit of a leg up in that space. So that way I can put my own spin on things, but still leverage what was already the few things that were working in the previous state.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So all right, I'm going to ask you this, Josh. So we're at Elevate26 next year, a year from now. We're sitting here having this conversation.
Fantastic.
Right, and then we're going to look at this and we go, how did MITER take what you're doing today with Monday.com, and what do you see happening a year from now?
Oh man, okay. Oof, that's a loaded question there, Paul. There's a lot to that. So right now, some of the bigger investments that we're doing inside of MITER from the marketing perspective, which I think is pretty serendipitous for the timing of this, is really doubling down on the concept of marketing operations and creating standards for not only just for marketing output in the way of like graphic design and web, those kinds of requests, but really taking that to standardize how we do larger cross-functional campaigns, things like product rollouts, rebates, things that would typically be very, very siloed across a lot of different departments, and then bringing those in and standardizing it, not only for the companies that are currently underneath MITER Brands, but any kind of acquisition, so that way marketing is leading the charge on how we're going to be operating from a sales perspective, and also, we are thought leaders and brought in when any kind of acquisition or any kind of growth comes in, so that way we can offer all of the wonderful products and the values that come in from being a MITER brand to any other oncoming acquisition.
Josh, it sounds like fun. It sounds like you have your hands full. It sounds like there's a lot going on.
That's fair.
Exciting times ahead.
It is, yeah.
So, but thank you for joining me on the show today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your insights. I really think it's really helpful for the audience, and thank you to the audience for watching. I'm Paul Nashawaty, coming to you live from the show floor at Monday.com at Elevate 2025 on theCUBE, your leading source for tech news.